Hey there, welcome back to Story Slices, where we slice through the best Reddit tales just for you. Let's dive right into the first story. The first one is the Tittle story, and it starts like this. My name's Jack, and I never thought I'd end up in a ridiculous feud with my neighbor over a hot tub, of all things. But here we are. Let me tell you how this whole mess started. I'd recently moved into a beautiful house in an upscale neighborhood called Oakwood Estates. As the CEO of a successful property management company, I could afford a nice place, and this one had it all. Spacious rooms, a gorgeous backyard, and yes, a top-of-the-line hot tub. The first few weeks were great. I was settling in nicely, enjoying my new home, and looking forward to relaxing in that hot tub after long days at the office. Little did I know that my neighbor, Karen, yes, her actual name was Karen, you can't make this stuff up, was about to make my life a living hell. It all started on a Friday evening in early summer. I'd just gotten home from work and decided to take a nice, relaxing soak in the hot tub. I changed into my swim trunks, grabbed a cold beer, and headed out to the backyard. As I was lifting the cover off the hot tub, I heard a shrill voice from over the fence. "Excuse me, what do you think you're doing?" I looked up to see Karen glaring at me from her side of the fence. She was a woman in her 50s with a severe blonde bob and an expression that could curdle milk. Just about to use my hot tub," I replied, confused by her tone. Karen's eyes narrowed. "I'm afraid I can't allow that. It's against homeowner association rules." I blinked, taken aback. "I'm sorry, what?" "This is my property, and I don't remember seeing anything in the homeowner association guidelines about hot tubs." "Well, they're not explicitly mentioned," Karen sniffed, "but they fall under the no excessive noise clause. The bubbling is very disruptive to the neighborhood's peace and quiet." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "Karen, it's barely 7 p.m., and the noise from a hot tub is hardly excessive. I'm well within my rights to use it." "We'll see about that," she snapped. "I'm on the homeowner association board, and I'm telling you right now that hot tub is not allowed. Use it again, and I'll be forced to take action." With that, she stormed back into her house, leaving me standing there, dumbfounded. I looked at my beer, then at the hot tub, and decided I wasn't going to let Karen's bizarre threat ruin my evening. I got in and enjoyed my soak, all the while wondering what her problem was. Little did I know, this was just the beginning of a neighborhood war that would escalate far beyond anything I could have imagined. The next morning, I woke up to find a formal letter from the homeowner association taped to my front door. It stated that a complaint had been filed against me for excessive noise pollution, and demanded that I cease use of my hot tub immediately or face fines. I couldn't believe it. Karen had actually gone through with her threat. Fuming, I picked up my phone and dialed the number listed at the bottom of the letter. A cheerful voice answered, "Oakwood Estates Homeowner Association. This is Linda speaking. How may I help you?" "Hi Linda, this is Jack Thompson at 1542 Maple Drive. I just received a notice about my hot tub, and I'd like to dispute it." Linda's voice immediately became less cheerful. "Oh yes, Mr. Thompson. We received a very serious complaint about your hot tub causing excessive noise. I'm afraid we have to take these matters seriously." I took a deep breath, trying to keep my cool. "Linda, I used the hot tub for less than an hour last night, well before any reasonable quiet hours. The noise from a hot tub is minimal at best. This complaint is ridiculous." "Be that as it may, Mr. Thompson, the board has decided to uphold the complaint. You'll need to refrain from using your hot tub until this matter is resolved." I pinched the bridge of my nose, feeling a headache coming on. "And how exactly do we resolve this?" "You can file an appeal, which will be reviewed at the next board meeting in, let's see, 3 weeks. 3 weeks? I exclaimed. "You expect me not to use my own hot tub for 3 weeks because of one unreasonable complaint?" Linda's voice turned frosty. "Mr. Thompson, I suggest you comply with the board's decision if you want to avoid further penalties. Good day, good day." She hung up before I could respond. I stood there, phone in hand, absolutely livid. This was absurd. I'd bought this house specifically because it had a hot tub, and now I was being told I couldn't use it because one neighbor had a stick up her ass? I spent the rest of the morning poring over the homeowner association guidelines, looking for any loophole or clause that would help my case. There was nothing explicitly mentioning hot tubs, and the noise clause was vague at best. I knew I was in the right, but I also knew that homeowner associations could be notoriously difficult to deal with. As I was considering my options, my doorbell rang. I opened it to find Karen standing there, a smug smile on her face. "Hello Jack," she said, her voice sickly sweet. "I trust you received the notice from the homeowner association?" I forced a smile. "I did, Karen. And I have to say, I'm surprised you'd go to such lengths over something so trivial." Her smile faltered slightly. "Trivial? The peace and quiet of our neighborhood is hardly trivial, Jack. I'm simply looking out for everyone's best interests." "And how exactly is my hot tub disturbing the peace?" I asked, trying to keep my voice level. Karen's eyes narrowed. "It's not just the noise, Jack. It's the impropriety of it all. A single man using a hot tub at all hours? What will people think?" I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "Karen, what I do on my own property is none of your business, as long as I'm not breaking any laws or legitimate homeowner association rules." "Which I'm not?" We'll see about that, she sniffed. The board agrees with me, and unless you want to rack up some hefty fines, I suggest you start complying. As she turned to leave, something in me snapped. You know what, Karen? I don't think I will comply. In fact, I think I'll use my hot tub tonight, and tomorrow night, and every night until this ridiculous complaint is thrown out. Karen's face turned an alarming shade of red. You can't do that. I smiled. Watch me. I shut the door in her face, feeling a mix of satisfaction and dread. I knew I was picking a fight, but damn it, I was in the right here. I wasn't about to let some power-tripping neighbor dictate what I could do in my own backyard. That evening, true to my word, I used the hot tub. I even invited a few friends over to join me. We weren't particularly loud, but we didn't go out of our way to be quiet either. As we relaxed in the bubbling water, I could see Karen's silhouette at her bedroom window, watching us like a hawk. The next morning, another notice from the homeowner association was taped to my door. This one threatened a $500 fine for continued violation of noise ordinances. I crumpled it up and tossed it in the recycling bin. Over the next week, the notices kept coming, each one threatening higher fines. Karen seemed to have made it her life's mission to catch me using the hot tub. She was constantly peering over the fence or watching from her windows. It was getting ridiculous. I decided it was time to fight back. I called a lawyer friend of mine, explaining the situation. Jack, buddy, Mike said after hearing me out, this is classic homeowner association overreach. They can't ban you from using a perfectly legal amenity on your own property without a really good reason. And one neighbor's complaint about noise that isn't even excessive? That's not gonna cut it. So what do you suggest? I asked. First, document everything. Every interaction with Karen, every notice from the homeowner association. Then, we'll draft a formal letter challenging their decision. If they don't back down, we can take legal action. I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it. No problem. Oh, and Jack, keep using that hot tub. Don't let them think you're backing down. I took Mike's advice to heart. I used the hot tub every night, invited friends over regularly, and kept meticulous records of every interaction with Karen and the homeowner association. The notices kept coming, but I ignored them all. About 2 weeks into this standoff, things took an unexpected turn. I was in my home office on a video call with some clients when I heard a commotion outside. I excused myself from the call and went to investigate. To my shock, I found a group of workers in my backyard, preparing to drain my hot tub. What the hell is going on here? I demanded. One of the workers looked up, startled. We have orders from the homeowner association to remove this hot tub, sir. I was speechless for a moment, then fury took over. Like hell you do. This is my property, and you're trespassing. Get out now, or I'm calling the police. The workers looked uncertain, glancing at each other. Then I heard that all too familiar voice. Is there a problem here? Karen had let herself into my backyard, looking triumphant. I rounded on her. Karen, what do you think you're doing? You can't just send people onto my property to remove my things. She smirked. Actually, I can. As a member of the homeowner association board, I have the authority to enforce our rules. You've ignored multiple warnings, so we're taking action. I pulled out my phone. All right, that's it. I'm calling the police. Karen's smug expression faltered slightly. Go ahead. They'll side with us. We have the law on our side. I dialed cop, explained the situation, and waited. Within minutes, 2 police cars pulled up outside my house. As the officers approached, Karen launched into her version of events, painting me as a troublemaker who refused to follow the rules. When she finished, one of the officers turned to me. Sir, can we see your deed to the property? I nodded, relieved that they were taking this seriously. I went inside, retrieved the deed, and brought it out to show them. The officer examined it carefully, then looked up at Karen. Ma'am, I'm afraid you're in the wrong here. This is private property, and the homeowner association doesn't have the authority to remove fixtures without the owner's consent or a court order. Karen's jaw dropped. But the rules? The officer shook his head. Homeowner association rules don't supersede property laws. You and your workers need to leave immediately, or you'll be charged with trespassing. Karen's face turned an alarming shade of red. For a moment, I thought she might explode. Then, without a word, she turned on her heel and stormed off. The workers, looking relieved, quickly packed up their tools and left. As the police were preparing to leave, I thanked them for their help. One of the officers paused and said, "You might want to consider legal action, sir. This kind of homeowner association overreach isn't uncommon, but it is illegal." I nodded, already planning my next move. Believe me, I intend to. That evening, I called Mike and filled him in on the day's events. He was incredulous. They tried to physically remove your hot tub? Oh man, Jack, we've got them dead to rights now. This is way beyond homeowner association overreach. It's attempted theft and trespassing. We're going to nail them to the wall. Over the next few days, Mike helped me prepare a comprehensive legal case against both Karen and the homeowner association. We gathered all the documentation I'd collected, including the police report from the attempted hot tub removal. We also reached out to other neighbors, and to my surprise, several of them had similar stories of Karen's homeowner association tyranny. While this was going on, I received a formal letter from the homeowner association, demanding that I pay over $5,000 in accumulated fines for my continued violations. I showed it to Mike, who just laughed. "Add it to the pile of evidence," he said. "This is just digging their hole deeper." Finally, about a week after the hot tub incident, we were ready. Mike filed a lawsuit against both Karen individually and the homeowner association as a whole, citing harassment, attempted theft, trespassing, and abuse of power. We also filed for an immediate injunction to prevent any further actions against my property. The day after we filed, I got a panicked call from Linda at the homeowner association office. "Mr. Thompson," she said, her voice shaking, "we've received notice of your lawsuit. Is there any way we can resolve this without going to court?" I couldn't help but smile. "I'm afraid not, Linda. You had plenty of opportunities to resolve this reasonably, but you chose to escalate. Now we'll let the courts decide." As news of the lawsuit spread through the neighborhood, I started receiving visits and calls from other residents. Many of them shared their own stories of run-ins with Karen and the homeowner association, and a few even asked to join the lawsuit. It seemed like Karen's reign of terror was finally coming to an end. The first court date was set for 3 weeks later. In the meantime, I continued to use my hot tub freely, much to Karen's visible frustration. She had stopped confronting me directly, but I often caught her glaring from her windows or yard. The day of the court hearing arrived, and I was nervous but confident. Mike had prepared an airtight case, and we had a stack of evidence that would be hard to refute. As we entered the courtroom, I saw Karen sitting with the other homeowner association board members, looking pale and worried. When the judge called the case, Mike presented our evidence methodically, detailing each instance of harassment and overreach. When it was the homeowner association's turn to respond, their lawyer seemed flustered. He tried to argue that they were simply enforcing the rules for the good of the community, but the judge wasn't buying it. "Counselor," the judge said, peering over her glasses, "I see no evidence that Mr. Thompson violated any clearly stated homeowner association rules. What I do see is a pattern of harassment and a disturbing attempt to deprive him of his property rights. Do you have any actual defense for these actions?" The homeowner association lawyer stammered, trying to find a convincing argument, but it was clear he was fighting a losing battle. After hearing both sides, the judge didn't take long to make her decision. She ruled entirely in our favor, issuing an injunction against the homeowner association to prevent any further actions against my property. She also ordered them to pay damages for the harassment and legal fees. But the judge wasn't done. She turned her attention to Karen specifically. "Mrs. Anderson," she said sternly, "your actions in this matter have been particularly egregious. You abused your position on the homeowner association board to pursue a personal vendetta against your neighbor. This court strongly recommends that you resign from the board immediately, and you will be personally liable for a portion of the damages awarded to Mr. Thompson." Karen looked like she might faint. The other homeowner association board members were shooting her furious glances. As we left the courtroom, I couldn't help but feel a sense of vindication. The aftermath of the court case was swift and satisfying. Karen resigned from the homeowner association board the very next day. The remaining board members, eager to avoid any further legal troubles, issued a formal apology to me and revised their rules to prevent similar abuses of power in the future. Word spread quickly through the neighborhood, and suddenly, I found myself something of a local hero. Neighbors I'd barely spoken to before were stopping by to congratulate me or share their own stories of homeowner association frustrations. As for Karen, she became a neighborhood pariah. I almost felt bad for her. Almost? She put her house on the market within a month, apparently unable to face the consequences of her actions. The evening after Karen's for sale sign went up, I invited a group of neighbors over for a little celebration. As we all relaxed in and around the hot tub, taking turns, of course. It may be big, but it's not that big. One of my neighbors raised his glass in a toast. "To Jack," he said, "the man who took on the homeowner association and won, and to the hot tub that started it all." Everyone laughed and clinked glasses. As I sat there, surrounded by new friends, enjoying the warm bubbles of my hard-won hot tub, I couldn't help but reflect on the absurdity of it all. What had started as a simple desire to relax after work had turned into a neighborhood-wide drama and a legal battle. But in the end, it had brought the community closer together. People were talking to each other more, standing up to unreasonable homeowner association demands, and generally being better neighbors. And all because of a hot tub. As the party wound down and people started to head home, my next-door neighbor on the other side, Tom, lingered behind to chat. "You know, Jack," he said, "I've been thinking about getting a hot tub myself. Any advice?" I laughed. "Just one piece of advice, Tom. Make sure you invite the neighbors over sometimes. It's a great way to build community spirit." Tom grinned and nodded. Will do. And hey, thanks again for standing up to Karen and the homeowner association. You've done us all a favor." As I watched Tom head home, I felt a sense of contentment wash over me. I'd moved into this neighborhood hoping for a peaceful place to call home, and while it hadn't exactly been peaceful so far, I had a feeling that the best was yet to come. The next morning, as I was enjoying my coffee on the back patio, I noticed a moving truck pulling up to Karen's house. Curious, I watched as she directed the movers, looking harried and upset. Part of me felt a twinge of guilt. I hadn't set out to drive her from her home after all. But then I remembered all the stress and frustration she'd caused, not just to me but to the whole neighborhood, and the guilt faded. As I was about to head inside, Karen noticed me watching. For a moment, we just looked at each other across our yards. Then, to my surprise, she started walking towards me. I tensed, unsure what to expect. When she reached the fence between our properties, Karen took a deep breath. "Jack," she said, her voice strained but controlled, I owe you an apology." I was so shocked I couldn't speak for a moment. "Karen? Apologizing? I must have misheard." She continued, "I let my position on the homeowner association board go to my head. I thought I was doing what was best for the neighborhood, but I see now that I was just being controlling and unreasonable. I'm sorry for all the trouble I caused you." I studied her face, looking for any sign of insincerity, but she seemed genuinely remorseful. I nodded slowly. "I appreciate that, Karen. I'm sorry things escalated the way they did." She gave a rueful smile. "That's on me, not you. Anyway, I wanted to clear the air before I left. I hope you and the new owners get along better than we did." With that, she turned and walked back to her house. I watched her go, marveling at how things had turned out. It wasn't often you got to see someone learn from their mistakes in real time. Over the next few weeks, life in the neighborhood settled into a new, more relaxed rhythm. The homeowner association, chastened by the lawsuit, took a much lighter touch in enforcing rules. People started spending more time outside, chatting with neighbors and enjoying their yards without fear of reprimand. My hot tub became something of a neighborhood gathering spot. I started hosting regular open tub nights where neighbors could come by for a soak and a chat. It was during one of these nights that I got to know the new owners of Karen's old house. They were a young couple, Alex and Sarah, who had just moved to the area. As we relaxed in the hot tub, they told me how they'd heard about the neighborhood's recent drama from their realtor. "We were a little worried at first," Sarah admitted. "We didn't want to move into a place with a lot of conflict." I laughed. "Well, I think you've arrived at just the right time. We've worked out all our issues, and now it's smooth sailing." Alex nodded. "We can tell? Everyone's been so welcoming. It's nice to see a neighborhood where people actually talk to each other." As I looked around at the small group gathered in and around my hot tub, Tom and his wife, the elderly couple from down the street, Alex and Sarah, I felt a sense of pride. This was what a neighborhood should be, a community of people who looked out for each other and enjoyed each other's company. The irony wasn't lost on me. Karen had tried to ban my hot tub because she thought it would disrupt the neighborhood. Instead, it had become the very thing that brought the neighborhood together. A few months later, I received an unexpected package in the mail. It was from Karen, postmarked from her new address in another state. Curious, I opened it to find a small plaque and a note. The plaque read, "In recognition of Jack Thompson, defender of property rights and bringer of community spirit." The note simply said, "I thought your hot tub deserved a little recognition for its role in improving the neighborhood. I'm still learning, but I'm trying to be a better neighbor in my new community. Thank you for the lesson." Karen? I couldn't help but laugh as I read it. I took the plaque out to the hot tub and mounted it on the nearby fence. It served as a reminder of the strange journey we'd all been on, and how sometimes, the things that seem to divide us can end up bringing us closer together. As I settled into the warm, bubbling water that evening, I reflected on everything that had happened. I'd moved into this neighborhood looking for a place to relax after long days at work. I'd found that eventually, but I'd also found so much more. I'd found a community, a cause worth fighting for, and a reminder that standing up for what's right can have far-reaching consequences. And it all started with a hot tub. Who would have thought? As the CEO of a property management company, I'd always understood the importance of clear rules and good neighborly relations. But this experience had taught me something new about the human side of property management. It wasn't just about enforcing rules. It was about fostering a sense of community, about finding the balance between individual rights and collective harmony. I made a mental note to review my company's policies, to make sure we were promoting this kind of positive community spirit in all the properties we managed. Maybe we could even start a program to help mediate disputes between neighbors before they escalated to the level mine had with Karen. The sun was setting, casting a warm glow over the backyard. I could hear the sounds of my neighbors in their yards, children laughing, the sizzle of barbecues, friendly conversations. This was what a neighborhood should sound like. I sank deeper into the hot tub, letting the warm water soothe away the last of the tension from the past few months. As I relaxed, I couldn't help but smile. Who knew that a simple hot tub could cause so much drama, and ultimately bring so much joy? In the end, I was grateful for the whole experience. It had taught me valuable lessons about standing up for what's right, about the power of community, and about the unexpected ways that conflict can lead to growth and positive change. And every time I sank into that hot tub, I was reminded of it all. The struggle, the victory, and the surprising friendship that had blossomed in its wake. It wasn't just a hot tub anymore. It was a symbol of perseverance, of community, and of the strange and wonderful ways that life can unfold. As I climbed out of the tub and dried off, I glanced at Karen's plaque one more time and chuckled. Who would have thought that my neighbor banning me from using my hot tub would lead to all this? Life, I mused, has a funny way of working out sometimes. And in this case, it had worked out better than I ever could have imagined. Are you hungry for more slices of stories? Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell to never miss out on any videos. See you tomorrow at Story Slices.